Congratulations. First place. Ooh,
Hello.
Second place.
Hi, I'm Fared. Hi, Ty White. Hello, hello. We're doing a watch along of some PAX West panels. I'm just letting everyone know it's gonna be a good time. Let me get some music up while we're waiting for the panel to start up. But yeah, thank you so much for coming by. I'm gonna play some music until they're ready. I'm at the movies about to watch Jaws in 3D. Let's go. All right, I'm gonna go to the Ash shares section, even though we've got ads playing right now. But I want to have it ready for when the panel starts. Oh my gosh, it feels like kind of dark in here. Let me turn on some lights. Hi everyone. Hello, hello. Ads are playing right now, but
Meow.
meow. Meow. Hi Ty White. How you doing? I'm excited for this panel because they did it at Long Island Retro and I missed it. But now we get to watch it. Let me see if they've done any, if they have any sound coming in. Let's see if they've got any sound. I might have to, oh yeah, it's muted. Oh, they've got music too. Okay. We can just have the music going. But yeah, how you doing? How you doing, Ty White? I hope you're doing great. Yeah, so the guests in this are Frank Cifaldi and Jenna Stoeber. So I'm really excited to see what they're gonna talk about for this panel. So I can't wait. I'm gonna turn this up. Hi, Wooden Hooligan. I hope you enjoyed Jaws 3D. Hi for 8-bit. Hi up for Red. I usually don't stream at this time, but they were like, oh, if you want to do like a co-stream for PAX West, I was like, sure. Oh, here we go.
I can hear you, but differently, louder, better. Hi, everyone.
Perfect timing for the ads to be
How's
over.
it going? You guys want to learn about Nintendo?
Yes. Yes,
Can
we
get
do.
our slides on the screen? Oh, we have them on the side. Great, okay.
They're
Okay.
there.
Flanked.
Hi, everyone. I'm Frank Cifaldi.
Hello.
I'm the founder of a nonprofit called the Video Game History Foundation, and thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And,
Hi,
who the hell are you?
Washington.
I'm Jenna Stoeber. I'm on the internet. I'm a video essayist and streamer, formerly of Polygon and currently of the internet. And you can find me there or in person here right now. Woo! Fun.
Okay. This is awesome.
Yeah, clap for in person. Yeah.
So you are under oath right now. Have you seen any slides in this presentation?
I have seen one or two slides.
You have no idea what's going on right now, really.
No, I definitely have no clue. Well, here's what I'll say as a little sneak peek. Every single slide I've seen so far has been about Rob. It's like, I don't think the whole presentation is, but I have no evidence to the contrary at this moment.
Well, let's get rolling because there's like 80 slides. So,
80
today
slides.
we're going to talk about the launch of the Nintendo Entertainment System, which happened. That's what happened. That's what it sounded like. It was 40 years ago. Yeah, 40 years ago this year was the launch of the NES in the U.S. I think a lot of you probably heard about the test market that happened in New York. We're going to talk about the events that led up to that, the weird history of how it launched, and I promise there will be time for Q&A.
Awesome.
So let's talk about the entire history of existence up
Yeah.
to the NES. I think we could skip Big Bang. Do you want to guide us through the evolution of species?
Okay, yeah. So we all came from the sun. Is our first form.
Right.
If we were Pokemon, you would say that our first form would be the sun, and then eventually we became dinosaurs.
And then skulls. Ended up with skulls.
Yes.
But point is, we became humans, and humans beget society, and eventually someone invented the television, and there's really not much else to talk about when it comes to history. So, all right, we got a TV. What do we do with this TV? Well, this guy thinks maybe we'll play games on the TV. Maybe it's a good idea to play games. This is Ralph Baer. If you don't know that name, you should. What's wrong with you? Ralph had some ideas. Not all of them were great. He thought maybe a video game was pumping water into a bucket with a pump.
I'm doing fine, Knight. Thank you so much. I hope you're doing well as well. No. Close. It's a good picture. Hi, Lily. Hello, welcome. Sorry, I didn't realize
Atari
that the.
decides, okay, we'll bring the.
I thought she was
the
at a.
Pong,
I'm going.
arcade.
I'm going to Dragon Con. I won't be able to talk much because I kind of want to hear what they're talking about. I don't want to talk over it, and I can't rewind because this is live. But yeah, I'm supposed to be at Dragon Con, but I'm gonna go tomorrow. But yeah, hi Cami, hi Nuclear Prez. I'm just gonna watch along and we're gonna check it out while they're talking because I didn't get a chance to see this at Long Island Retro, so I might not answer everything right away.
So Pong clones, of course, eventually evolve into this concept of, hey, maybe game consoles should have interchangeable games, right? Maybe we can, have different games that you buy separately that are contained on their own ROM chips. Atari didn't technically invent this, but there were multiple companies doing this. So Atari didn't really have the money to launch this thing, so they sold the company to the Warner Brothers and their sister Dot. And launched what we now know of as the Atari 2600, the home console, which was part of a larger movement of home consoles in the 80s. Meanwhile, in Japan, a company called Nintendo. You heard of Nintendo?
A little company called Nintendo. Yeah, let's get
That
a
TV
woo if
games
you've
thing
heard
is
of
really
Nintendo.
cool.
That was fewer than I was expecting, but I get it. It's not a crowd interaction panel.
So Nintendo sees what's happening, and they get into both the arcade and the home industry in Japan. At this point, they're just kind of doing kind of Pong-y games, and that arcade game is actually an Othello game. The chairman of this company hires his son-in-law, because nepotism, to run the American division of Nintendo. And Nintendo of America at that time, in the early 80s, primarily what they did was they took Nintendo's arcade games and they marketed them here, and as well as the Game & Watch, these tiny little handheld guys. But in 1982, they have a massive hit, this Gorilla game.
Whoa.
Anyone want to woo Donkey Kong? Can we get some donkey woos?
I'm taken, so I won't woo him.
They should make a new Donkey Kong.
I don't know. Is anybody even into him anymore? I'm kind of more into this little guy at the bottom.
Donkey Kong, huge hit. So Nintendo doesn't have a home presence at this time other than, Game & Watch. So they licensed Donkey Kong to other companies, including Coleco. So Coleco has the home rights for their ColecoVision console and any other console, as well as what was called the handheld rights. So this is arguably a handheld unit, which kind of leads us to this weird situation where like the video game console Power Rangers come together to sell Donkey Kong back to you. But that's Coleco. Back to Atari. Atari actually has the home computer rights to Donkey Kong as opposed to the home console. There was a distinction there. As this is going on in Japan, Nintendo goes, hey, maybe we should make our own interchangeable cartridge system. And that finally brings us to today's presentation.
Don't forget to unmute your computer.
Oh, thank you. But it's not time. But
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. I was excited about the audio-visual part.
All right. So we're going to kind of do a timeline of what led to the NES, starting in April of 1983. So the Famicom doesn't exist yet. This is something that's still in development. Like I said, Nintendo doesn't really have like a home console, especially in the US, presence, right? They are, of course, a very old Japanese company, but they're not really equipped at Nintendo of America to sell a video game console in stores. They just aren't. They're a coin-op company primarily, and they make some toys. And they have like a couple dozen employees. It's a pretty small little company. So they decide, hey, we're creating this home system. Let's approach Atari, right? Atari is the largest video game company in the U.S.
Yeah.
So they said, what's that?
The kings. The
Yes,
kings of the industry.
The kings.
Never to be felled. Reigning still.
About to die horribly. But spoilers. So Atari goes, oh, heck yeah, let's see what you're working on. So they fly to Kyoto, they see a prototype. It might have been this exact prototype, we're not sure. So at the time, they're not really sure if they're going to license this thing because they're also talking to another company, a company called General Computer. They're making a system that would eventually come out as the Atari 7800. But at this point, Atari's like, I'm not sure what we're gonna do. Let's just kind of stall them, right? Let's keep talking. They have a more formal meeting. I can't believe this photo from that meeting exists. Isn't that amazing?
What a great get.
So May
What a
83,
photo.
They have a more formal meeting in Japan, and they start negotiating terms. This is like a real thing that's happening.
Yeah.
There was actual conversation that might have resulted in Atari releasing the NES, which would have been a very, very different timeline.
A radical breaking point in our reality.
Yes.
A notable nodule on an alternate reality split.
Unfortunately, this is what led to our current timeline.
Well, I don't think it's just this thing. In fact, I feel like if Atari were still around in a powerhouse, things would be somehow worse.
There's literally an Atari booth here at PAX.
I know. I was gonna say, what is she talking
I love and
about?
respect them, and they're doing great work still. But it's a different Atari.
Atari's
than this
literally
Atari.
on.
Atari is literally
Our
there.
Love and respect to
Correct.
any Atari.
You're absolutely correct. Different Atari. So they start negotiating terms. The deal is Nintendo is going to kind of sell Atari like the guts of the system, the internal PCBs, the microchips, et cetera. Atari would take that, 2 million of them. They would do their own plastic shelling. They would do the packaging, stuff like that. Nintendo would develop games for them, and they would give them the resources that they need at Atari to make games for the Famicom as well. And though they didn't sign anything there, they weren't quite ready, Nintendo agreed to start porting 4 of the games that Atari had the rights to the Famicom so that this could happen by Christmas. That's how close this was. This is approximately what that Atari system would have looked like. This is the shell.
Sleek.
Yeah, not bad.
That's a sleek doorstop.
This was the system that, the shell that they were attempting to fit the Famicom into. They did actually end up shipping a product using this shell. It's called the 2600 Junior, if you look it up. Yeah, that's May, so things are going well. It's June, time for the summer CES. Atari is pissed.
Why?
Why is Atari pissed?
Frank, why are they pissed?
Well, on the show floor is Coleco, who own the home console rights to Donkey Kong. They are premiering a computer called the Coleco Atom, and they're showing Donkey Kong on the Coleco Atom.
Okay.
Atari's like, no, that's not right. We have the computer rights to Donkey Kong. Coleco has the home console rights. Now, the Atom is literally like a ColecoVision with a keyboard attached to it, but semantics, it is a computer, so Atari's mad. I don't want to speculate what might have happened here.
It sounds like that's a thing you say before you speculate about what happened.
I'm going to let this speak for itself. The next day,
wow, the turnaround.
Nintendo signs its next hit across all systems in existence, Mario Brothers. That guy that you liked from earlier.
Oh, that guy?
He
That's
spun
him?
off into his own game, yeah.
Wow, that guy had spunk. I was into his vibe.
There's a book called Game Over, came out in '93, I
A
think.
great book. If you are interested in video game history, I cannot recommend it enough.
Absolutely. It is the first and last time Nintendo talked to anybody. And there's a story in there that Yamauchi, the president of Nintendo in Japan, threw a fit and yelled at Coleco and as sort of a show of force with Atari. So I think there's some truth to that. But I think the more important takeaway that we should kind of understand as we continue forward in this timeline is Nintendo's really trying to make this deal happen.
Yeah.
They really believe in this. They want Atari to distribute this thing.
Yeah.
All right, going forward in time. June 14th, I call this out because the only documentation that we had about this deal happening at all was actually leaked to the internet in the late 90s. It was in this internal memo.
Whoa.
And it's been around forever. And I point this out because this is where our perspective from Atari ends. We don't know Atari's perspective from here at all. But as of this point, June 14th, they're still on the fence. They don't know. They're still kind of stalling, right? July 7th, the CEO of Atari, Ray Kassar, is forced out of the company. He kind of sort of sold a bunch of shares in the company right before announcing a loss.
Oh, so they outed him because they were like, there might be some dodgy speculation here. Please don't sue us.
Speculation. He claims it was something a little more innocent. And then in the middle of all this, Nintendo launches a console in Japan. So they're a little too busy to kind of play with Atari here. But somewhere around here, they start going, I don't think these guys are serious. So Arakawa, the president of Nintendo of America at the time, the guy I showed earlier, he makes the call that like, this isn't happening. Let's just take this back. And they're starting to think about maybe we should do this ourselves, right? Not really equipped yet, and at this point, the video game industry isn't doing great. He's showing the Famicom. Well, it hasn't completely dissolved yet.
Okay.
But he's showing the Famicom to like toy stores, asking their opinion, and they're not super into it because things aren't going well. And besides that, they're still a coin-op company. They're still a small little startup.
Basically
offshoot.
no presence in America.
Yeah, other than Donkey Kong,
Yeah.
but they're really like a licensing house for Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I think Donkey Kong itself, Nintendo of America was so small that Donkey Kong released in, I believe, 2 bars in Seattle.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was like their initial launch. You had to go to 2 physical bars in Seattle to play Donkey Kong, and they were like, all right.
Talk about a test market. All right, so that's June, July. So August, Nintendo comes back to Atari, like, hey, remember those 4 games? You need to pay us for those. And so at this point, the deal's off for the console, but Atari has to pay up for these 4 games that Nintendo converted for them. And as part of that, Atari had the rights to publish these 4 games for the Famicom. They might still have those rights. I don't know if anyone knows.
Oh, that's incredible. Okay.
They're still kind of mad about the whole Coleco situation, and maybe as part of that, Nintendo gives Atari what's called the right of first refusal for any new dedicated arcade games that they make. Okay. That term, do you know that term, right of first refusal?
It means they get the choice to refuse first.
Basically, yes, very good, very good, very good.
It's a good guess.
Like we present it to you before we present it to anyone else, and you have a set term to negotiate in good faith if you want to license the thing.
Right.
So they're saying like from now on, we got your back on any of our games coming out. September in Japan, Nintendo delivers those final games to Atari, and in the U.S., Atari buries a bunch of ET cartridges in a desert.
Can I tell you, Frank, that's one of my favorite video game history moments. When Atari is just like, we've got to bury our shame in a garbage dump in the New Mexican desert.
Well, the reason they did that is not because it's shameful. It's not because it was a bad game. There was just too much inventory.
You don't think there was an element of shame in that behavior?
I think they decided to throw millions of dollars away because they were ashamed, yes.
I mean, maybe I'm projecting how I think they should feel about it.
He's fine, come on. Okay. This is one of those ROMs delivered from Nintendo Japan to Atari. I don't think anyone's ever seen one of these before. So this is a finished conversion of Millipede for the Famicom.
Wow.
So Nintendo, like I said, they did 4 games for Atari. There were 4 games that Atari had the home rights for.
That's like when we opened up our Super Nintendo games.
It was these 3 games, and they kind of had a house style. When they converted games for Atari, they kind of followed that house style, which was the sort of arcade logo up top, the 2 game modes, 1 or 2 player. You'll note they just kind of changed the copyright to copyright 1983 Atari.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, these aren't like newly discovered prototypes or anything. Like these games actually did come out in 1987. So years from then. So these games were actually, Nintendo didn't make them internally, they were farmed out to HAL. Joust is, as far as we know, Iwata's first game for Nintendo.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
That's Satoru Iwata, future Nintendo CEO and president.
thank you. I guess I just assumed everyone knew that, but
And just delightful human, just all around good
miss
guy.
that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so these games did come out, and if you find box versions of these games, they just straight up say copyright Atari on the box, and in fact, like those copyrights from '83 are still in there. They were unreleased for 4 years. Kind of interesting. I said there were 4 games.
Yeah, I did notice that.
These are some ROM chips that were located inside of Atari in the 80s. So we already had Millipede, you got Stargate, you got Joust. Can you read the one on the bottom?
Galaga.
So that is Galaga. So that is, unfortunately, so the way the Famicom works and the NES is that graphics and program are 2 separate chips, right?
Okay.
So the program itself has to talk to the graphics chips to get the tiles. How many Galaga chips do we have?
I see it. I can't help but notice that there is only 1.
Yeah, so we have preserved the program for Galaga, but if you play it, it looks like that.
Oh no.
A little bit unfortunate. But
Oh no.
I kind of rolled up my sleeves and started kind of plopping in some tiles. Looks
Okay.
approximately like this. I can give you a quick gameplay demonstration. This is where the audio comes in.
Oh.
World debut,
Wow.
Any
world
Galaga
debut of
fans?
Galaga by HAL for the NES. So we're going to watch me play Galaga for the next 30 minutes.
Is there anybody in the audience that is like genuinely a Galaga head? Yeah? Some of you?
5
Okay,
people.
okay. Is there a term for somebody who's a big Galaga fan?
A Galaphile.
A Galite? Okay.
We're not actually going to watch me play Galaga. I just thought people would like to see a world debut.
It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, incredible.
So I like that game too. I like it.
Literally 1984. So it's January. That's Winter CES. Rumors start circulating that Nintendo of America is looking to bring the Famicom to the United States. And in fact, this snippet is from a magazine called Computer Entertainer, which is, it's actually, don't laugh.
I was just thinking, like, I could maybe instead of content creator, computer entertainer.
That could be your new
Could
role.
be like
You
my
could be
new
computer
my new
entertainer.
tagline
Yeah.
on my business cards.
Computer Entertainer, I don't know if anyone follows the VGHF, but we actually acquired the rights to Computer Entertainer, and it's out there for
That's
free
so
for
cool,
everybody.
yeah. It's very cool.
So you can print and sell that paragraph right now. You can just do
You
that.
can print and sell that paragraph.
But you got to like credit us, I think. So around this time, the NES actually does come to America. in arcade form. So this is the VS system. Yes, it is pronounced VS, and it stands for versus, but it's not pronounced versus, it's pronounced VS.
Great.
So yes, the home video game industry crashed. Arcade industry, separately from that, also wasn't doing that well.
Yeah.
And from Nintendo's perspective, they decided that making these sort of one-off games using their own like circuit boards and everything, and charging operators like $3,000 for a cabinet, they thought that wasn't a sustainable model anymore. And so they and a few other arcade manufacturers started doing what we call kits, right? So buy the cabinet and you can swap games. And so they decided, well, we have all these Famicom games, let's just turn that into arcade units.
Okay.
Kind of a unintentional, I think, downside is that there was nothing for Atari to first refuse anymore. Because they were just home games. But as this is going on, Nintendo of America is starting to figure out what is an American Famicom like. And so they start designing sort of this sleek, high-tech concept for a video game system. There was this hot new thing at the time called the VCR.
Oh.
People were really into the VCR, and so they kind of like took inspiration from that. You'll notice the thing says infrared controllers. They were going to ship wireless controllers that were like, VCR remote controls.
Whoa.
Terrible idea in 1985. Don't do
The
that.
tech might not have been there quite yet. That's cool, though.
So they start developing this, and they actually do a little focus test. They invite kids and parents, and they show them some games, and they show them some concepts, and they ask what they think. So at this time, what Nintendo thought would be like the hotness was what they called programmable games and education. 'Cause,
Okay.
everyone likes educational games.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Now again, the video game industry is dead, like dead.
Yeah.
Literally no one's making console games anymore. Anything that's coming out still is like, we found some leftovers in the closet, and I'm not exaggerating. I need you guys to understand that the industry was dead. So they're trying to figure out how to make something that's not really a video game. And so this was their idea, like programmable games, right? So the focus test, they were really excited by the idea of a programmable game, but the reality of what they showed them was, has anyone played Excite Bike in the audience? Yeah, a few people, yeah.
Okay,
So you remember in Excite
right.
Bike, you can kind of make your own track. So you could be like
Yes.
piece A and then piece 17, then that's what they considered a programmable game. So they would tell people, you can make your own games, and they show them Excite Bike, and they'd be like, oh, really, that's it? What they expected was that they could like draw their own characters and shoot them.
I mean, but it is arguably kind of prescient for like modern games, which are like
Absolutely.
so many of them are like build your own levels. Like it in a way they were right.
No, they
but
were right.
It was just maybe the framing of it wasn't quite there.
We weren't quite at Mario Maker yet.
No,
We didn't have
not
the
quite
technology.
yet. He was still Jumpman, so
Jumpman Maker.
Jumpman Maker.
He was Mario. Mario Bros came out, remember?
You're right, you're
we
right.
discussed this, Jenna.
You're right.
So the sort of temperature read they got was that kids were, still into video games, and they were bored. They were going outside instead, and it's really because like there weren't a lot of new games coming out, or
Yeah,
really
because
any.
there was no video game industry.
I pulled this quote on the bottom here, which is, I'd buy one if I had $500 because I'd still have $400 to spend on something else.
Wow. Wow.
Focus tests tell you the truth, whether you like it or not.
That's
Wow.
so funny.
So as part of this focus test, they float some names for a system to the people. So here's 3 through 19.
Okay.
Tag yourself. I'm the Fun Factory.
I'm Apogee.
And the game creator.
Wow, Dream Machine's really good.
You
That
like
is
Dream Machine?
I
good.
love Dream Machine.
I like Family Computer.
Apogee.
Fun Factory, Fun Machine. There were some better options. I mean, I will say, much love and respect to the NES.
Yeah.
It's not a particularly exciting name for a console. Nintendo Entertainment System. It could have been Dream Factory.
Dream Factory. Or CVS.
Or CVS. It could have been CVS. Yeah, you're right, Frank.
So,
The Imagineer.
That's like a guy who would have a rocket pack.
absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah. So what they decided on was the
AVS.
number one is what they went with, which is the Nintendo Advanced Video System. So you see it here. Still.
The fact that it was number one kind of gives the vibe of, I'm tired of looking at this list. Whatever number one is, let's roll with it.
All right, but that was number one. And I told you number 3 through 19.
Okay.
You ready for number 2?
Yeah.
The Genesis. No way.
Oh my God.
Are you serious?
Good, right?
Okay, but do you have a list of what they would have called the Sega Genesis?
I don't, sorry.
Oh, man.
All right, January 85.
That's
the public debut
funny.
of the Advanced Video System, now christened by the focus group. I don't know that they actually pulled the name because of that. It was 2 months later. But so Winter CES in Vegas. So back then, this was, I was going to say before E3, but we don't even have that anymore. But like, at the time, there were basically 2 consumer electronics shows a year. There was the January one in Vegas. There was the June one in Chicago. January is when you're like, here's our crazy nonsense ideas. What do you guys think, right? And that would kind of get a temperature gauge on what they should like pursue further development on.
Okay.
And then the June show was more of the like, okay, place your orders, right? Like, here's the actual finished product. So Pie in the Sky show. You can see an AVS down there on the right. There's someone playing it. The AVS was smoke and mirrors. That is not a playable system.
Nope.
I actually talked to the engineer who set this exhibit up, and what he told me was that they actually imported what was called Sharp Famicom TVs. There were these TVs that had a Famicom built in, and he just built a bezel around it and put a little box in
That's
front.
so funny.
Yeah. Yeah, this was the AVS.
Yep.
They went all in on the
Yeah.
stuff, right? Like, again, they're trying to say, no, this ain't video games, it's something else, right?
Right. Yeah, it's a keyboard. It's
also a keyboard.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 kinds of keyboard.
Yeah.
They have a wireless gun thing that they called the Light Wand. You like Light Wand? Okay.
Love Light Wand.
Okay, try this one on for size. They have a typing keyboard. There's reference to it being called the Dream Board.
Yes. Oh my God.
You like the
Are
Dream
you
board?
kidding? Yeah.
And then that little guy in the middle, that is a cassette recorder.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that when you program your Excitebike tracks, you can save them to
Oh my
cassette.
God, and like send them to your
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
Like, check out my Excite Love.
They also had some of this stuff on display at the Nintendo store for a really long time.
Doesn't work. You can save it, and like it flashes, like it saves. Nothing saves.
Wow.
It's trying to talk to that tape player. It doesn't exist.
Oh.
Yeah, it did exist in Japan though.
Wow.
So this is a actual press kit that was given out to members of the media at that show. I didn't think any of these survived. We just found one like 2 months ago.
Cool.
Yeah, this was in the basement of
Wow.
Roger Sharp. Roger Sharp, who, if you watch that movie about, I think it was called Pinball. Like Roger Sharp's the pinball guy. He's the guy who played pinball in a court to show that like it's a game of skill, not a game of chance. He was also a member of the industry and reported on games, and I say this in the positive way, a hoarder. And found
You
this in
would
his
say
basement.
that. As an archivist, you have a
It makes sense.
a gentle
hoarding.
Yeah, exactly.
See, there's nothing wrong with being a hoarder. You're preserving history.
I swear to God, like, it was in a moving box that was taped up in 1989 that I opened.
I assume the tape just disintegrated into dust when
No,
you
the
touched
tape was
it.
okay, but
Yeah.
inside the box was literally like his show bag from the show. And I went to pick it up and that disintegrated. But then I got the stack of folders out and inside was the AVS kit.
That's incredible to think that he got back from the CES and was just like,
He just put it in a
plop,
box.
plop, tape this
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
for 30 years.
Yeah.
Incredible.
How many?
40 years.
Yeah.
That's
40
right.
years, Frank.
Okay, like I said, June's the real show, right? They finally have the NES, sort of. This brochure is kind of the missing link in the evolution of the
I'm just excited
of the
to see
species.
Rob, sorry.
Oh, you're excited for Rob?
Yeah.
That's Rob. That's a good observation. So again, Nintendo's trying to say we're not a video game, we're something else, right? The sort of high-tech thing, trying to talk to electronics stores primarily, that's not quite working for them. So they're like, okay, let's kind of revert to toys, right? This is a toy system. We got a robot, and so. They announced it at the show. It still looks like the AVS in the brochures, and they're still not committed quite to introducing this, but they're talking to everybody. They're talking to retailers. They're talking to, Mattel and Coleco are like, don't do it, you guys. I almost died, man. Don't do it. Toys R Us actually is maybe the first champion of this thing. Toys R Us sees it and they're like, I want it now. Like, let's go national. Let's just do this. They're like, whoa, we're not ready. There's like 20 of us. They do another focus test because this is what you do, right?
I'm peeking ahead to the rest
Straight
of
up,
this
nobody
bullet
likes the
point.
robot. Nobody likes Rob except for Jenna Stoeber.
He's a little robot friend. I mean, I wouldn't have had him growing up. Absolutely not. No chance.
So
If I had $1,000, I would buy one and have $900 left.
So kind of like the concept of programmable games, they tell people there's a robot, and they go, ooh, robot, I like that. And then they actually give them Gyromite, and they're like, I don't like this. But parents do kind of admit that the robot might actually entice them into buying it, because that might be a thing.
That's all the robot needs to do.
And at this point, based on the feedback and based on just not liking Rob, this is when Nintendo decides when they package the thing, they're going to include the gun and Duck Hunt as well, because just shipping Gyromite would have been awful. This is an actual quote given under oath by Nintendo's VP of sales at the time. This was something told to him by the focus test group. Didn't go well.
No one with these results has been stupid enough to introduce their product is damning.
Yeah.
It's so funny. They were wrong, though.
Well, that's the thing, and that's what Nintendo thought. And really what it came down to at the time is Eric Howe was looking at Japan, and he's like, these kids like it. I don't think American kids are that different, right?
Yeah.
I think we're just focusing too much on these focus tests. So they start actually going, okay, we're going to bring this thing out. Now, the NES is not a copy-paste of the Famicom. There's several new things that have to happen. So they're re-engineering this in Japan to meet the needs of the American market. The Nintendo has to pass what the FCC regulations. I don't really know what that means, other than like metal shielding has to be there to prevent leaked radio waves or something like that. I don't know.
Sure.
That sounded pretty good.
Yeah, that sounded believable.
Another thing is that the Famicom had stationary controllers. You couldn't remove them. Eric Howell wanted them to be removable so that things could be easily repaired, essentially.
That makes sense.
He also wanted to add audio-video cables, composite cables, because Famicom was just the screw-in RF, because he just thought it was a better-looking video signal. They wanted sort of a more premium product. He thought it is literally a better video signal. But maybe the most important thing is what's kind of on the bottom right here. That is what's called the CIC chip. This is a chip that essentially, like, there's a lock and key system on the NES, right? They wanted to prevent anyone from being able to just make an NES game and sell it without going through them. So
and why did they want to prevent that?
Because the entire industry just crashed because there were too many games in the market. That's something that they recognized when they were talking to toy stores and vendors and stuff like that, and Atari even. Everyone identified that the cause of the crash was that too many people all at the same time just started flooding the market with product. Some of it good,
Of varying quality.
Of varying quality.
That's...
Even if they were all great, that the industry could not have survived that chaos. And so Nintendo recognized that, and so they asked Japan to come up with a system that prevented people from making whatever they want for the NES. They had to go through Nintendo. So that chip that you're seeing has to talk to a chip on the system, and it's sort of a lock and key system. They have to shake hands. And if they do, then the game boots. If they don't, it resets infinitely.
I think it's just like considering Nintendo as a modern company, I think it's incredible to see like how the extent to which they still kind of maintain that kind of control.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not like the literal hardware control as it was for this system, but like that is still such a cornerstone to the company's approach to like who gets to be on the Switch store, who gets to license games and like things like that, which I think is fascinating.
It's why to this day there's no no shovelware on the Switch. So that's sort of on the Japan side. On the America side, they are finalizing sort of the look and feel of the NES. This is actually woodblock carving, which is very cute. I don't know if that still exists. I hope it does. You can see the cartridges there aren't quite final. They have these sort of generic little end labels and not the full color labels that we know and love. But things are coming in fast, and October comes around, and they're going to test it in New York. Now, the concept here was we're only going to launch it in a minimum area to see how it goes before we make the commitment to shipping across the country. They started with New York because, according to at least one source, that was Yamauchi in Japan, was like, no, we have to try the hardest one. We have to try the hardest market first and see how it goes.
It's bold.
Normally we say it's the New York test market. Technically, it was the New York ADI. This is a term I just learned.
I don't know it.
ADI means Area of Dominant Influence, right? So what this meant was if you advertise on television in New York City, it's all of the areas around it that get those broadcasts.
Oh, okay.
So that included parts of New Jersey and Connecticut, which I did not
So they're like culturally New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
They offered pretty good terms to retailers who were scared. There's some debate about exactly.
They actually did like a whole display on this at Long Island Retro, which was really cool. Also, hi Bear Boo. Hello. We're watching a panel at PAX West.
And the Zapper games, mostly Duck Hunt. And in fact, the system, like we said, came with Rob, the Zapper, Gyromite, and Duck Hunt. You couldn't just buy it on its own. Right. You had to buy this giant box that had.
Why would you want to? You don't want to buy Rob? You don't want to buy Rob?
No one wants to buy video games. They want to buy this giant robot thing.
Yeah, who can do very little. not a good toy.
MSRP was very cheap. $140.
Not bad.
At some retailers. There were 15 games available as well, including Super Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers had just come out in like September 17th, I think it was, in Japan. So like this was just fresh out of the oven, this game. This is their newest game. But they didn't promote it because they didn't know what they had yet.
Yeah.
But they were selling it technically. These are the first NES units being flown in from Japan to the warehouse that they rented in Hackensack, New Jersey. I stole these from a YouTube video. This was Don James, who just retired from NOA. He was maybe the last person there who worked at that.
I was going to say there's Don James in the photo holding the two boxes on the top left.
So this is them sort of demonstrating the system at FAO Schwartz in New York, the famous toy store, where Tom Hanks played the giant
where Big
piano.
was big.
Yeah, when Big was big.
Yeah,
That's
when
right.
the big guy was big, yeah.
These are a couple other shots from FAO Schwartz, technically from 1986, these photos, but good enough. They ran advertising. This was the magazine ad they ran in New York Magazine for the highbrow parents. And as you can see, like they didn't quite nail, like, you know, they're not saying now you're playing with power yet, right? It's the first to move video action off the screen. A little bit awkward.
It is incredible to see the extent to which they have minimized the console.
It's a robot.
It is like, this is a robot system that can also play video games, but
Also, the robot hatched from an egg.
Yeah, and that is thematically so perplexing.
Do you guys want to watch Rob hatch from an egg? Okay.
Yeah, you do.
This is a 1-minute commercial spot that ran in New York.
Will it be you? Will your family be the first to witness the birth of the incredible Nintendo Entertainment System?
This looks so Apple.
Will you to see, to touch, to play with Rob?
This looks
the
so
extraordinary
Apple.
video
It's
robot?
funny.
He follows the commands you put on screen to help you tackle even the toughest challenge. Will you be the first to raise the incredibly accurate Zapper and play games like Duck Hunt and Hogan's Alley? The first to build a library of game packs like Kung Fu and golf, even games like Excitebike that you program yourself. Will you be the first to get all this in one package? The Nintendo Entertainment System, where video technology is more than a game.
Where video technology is more than a game.
That was pretty incredible. Also, thank you, Nick the Rat, for the sub.
Of that commercial are so like alien.
Yeah.
It is, I mean, like the movie Alien, like the splitting of the egg and
Yeah.
like the light ominously coming out from it. It is sinister.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see
I
that.
really like it.
They ran another commercial where Rob like came out of someone's stomach.
Real?
No.
So this is a prank.
Got him.
I
Got
also
him.
noticed everybody got to play the game except the mom, so that's a shame. Because I know moms were out there playing this game when their kids were at school, obviously.
So here's some newspaper ads from retailers that were selling the NES. You could have bought it at Macy's, you could have bought it at Toys R Us. I don't know if you could see, they're both calling it the Video Robot Entertainment
I
System.
love it. I love it. I love the extent to which, because we take for granted the phrase video games now, but video games as like the standardized term for all of this mess, it came pretty late. It came pretty late in the industry.
This is an advertisement from Brick Church, not a retailer I've ever heard of.
Brick Church.
They may have been the first retailer to sell the NES. I have some reference to that in material that we have, and it was maybe at this show that they had at Giant Stadium, where you could chat with Nintendo's 5-foot-tall talking robot.
What was it though? Because it wasn't a 5-foot-tall talking robot.
We
Was it
literally don't know.
No!
This is lost media.
That drives me crazy. Thank God there are people out there archiving stuff so that we at least know that this exists. It had to have been like a dude in a suit, right?
I think so.
It had to have been.
Or a real robot. I need you to decide. So these are the cheapest ones I could find. So
Okay.
you could get it for $137.82 if you went to consumers,
Okay.
right? Or $139.95, but you get a free 35mm camera. What's the better deal?
Ooh, I mean, I'm going to take the camera.
I'm gonna
That's
go
a
for the
sweet
camera.
deal.
Not bad, not bad. They also did what they called a mall tour, where Nintendo of America would set up in malls and demonstrate the thing, and essentially try to get retailers to notice them. You know, like, look, people are playing this thing. Do you guys want to try to sell this?
I love that. That's a really funny strategy to go go outside of a store that does not sell your product and just set up your booth and it's like, oh wow, look at all these people playing this thing. Isn't it so? Oh my God, look at what a great time they're having.
I'll order 10. To sweeten the deal, they licensed some players from the New York Mets. They were the team at the time, not the Yankees. The Mets.
Okay.
They didn't
Let's
get Bill
go,
Strawberry.
New York
he was the
Mets!
guy at the time, but they got Mookie Wilson. And you know, if you went on Sunday, you would have enough time after the 2 p.m. to go to the dinner dance at the Ridgeview Church.
And that's your weekend.
Yeah.
That's your weekend good to go. What were the baseball players doing? Were they just like
Signing
hanging out and
autographs, signing autographs.
next to a Nintendo?
Well, they were like demonstrating baseball. They might have had like a
Okay,
script that they
okay.
read because they were selling the
making it
baseball
sci-fi.
video game.
Yeah, okay.
And as you can see, if you went, you got balloons and a button and posters. This is actually, we have this, one of the buttons that you would have gotten. if you met
Yes.
Mookie Wilson
What an icon.
during the mall tour.
That is
how did
so
it go?
cool.
If this were an episode of Drunk History, this is when like the uplifting, swelling music would happen at the end, right? And like history changed forever, but like it's not actually that simple. So they sold about half of what they ordered. I don't really know what the expectations were, honestly. I do have a quote from Yamauchi in Japan, who's like, I don't think they did that well, is my memory. We do have some sales numbers. We know that the top-selling game was actually Kung Fu, which kind of demonstrated, I think, that people wanted video games. You know, they were pushing these Zapper games and the robot games, but like the top-selling game was a conversion of an arcade game where you kick guys. You know, like I think that says a lot.
Listen, it's a great mechanic. Still love to kick guys in games today. You know?
We have a report from the sales reps at the time that said Super Mario Brothers was a sleeper hit, and they said, hey, you should push this next year. And they did. Retailers were mixed. Some were totally into it, some returned them immediately, and they're like, we're not doing this video game thing again. And then, they rolled the thing out nationally in '86. It exploded in '87. The rest is history. But, kind of if there's a takeaway here, I think there's 3 things that really made this possible. The lockout chip is huge. And the fact that they ignored everyone, I think, and just pushed forward anyway. And then I don't know if there's any way to know if their sort of Trojan horse strategy of making it a robot worked. It might have gotten it in stores, but I think that, like, as soon as people played the games, they're like, okay, these are great. These
Yeah.
games are great. I don't need this robot stuff.
I mean, I think it is worth underlining that the Famicom was huge
Oh,
in
absolutely.
Japan.
Thank you
like
for
it's,
saying so,
it's
yeah.
definitely not like, they were ignoring traditional feedback, but not because they had a lack of other context.
Right.
They had context that this was good shit,
No,
that
the
people were
yeah.
going to want.
Like Super Mario Brothers sold like 2 million copies. Or
Yeah,
the
like
first
an
couple of
incredible
years.
amount.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's like, yeah, especially in Japan, which did not have as many people in America. It's just like, that is an incredible percent. I think there was something like, if a toy sold like, was it 10,000 copies at the time, it was considered a huge success
Yeah, yeah.
in Japan. So to sell 2 million is just like, whew. So it's like, what they were ignoring feedback, but like they had better, more affirmative feedback happening.
What kind of blows my mind as I think back on this period as an historian is, I think that, so the Lockout chip and Super Mario Brothers launched on the same day, right? So like the technology that defined what a video game console is forever, which is it's a locked garden, it's a walled garden, you know, that you have to go through the console maker to make games on. Like it didn't have to be that way. You know what I mean? Like game consoles could have been VCRs, right? Like they could have been something that anyone could make games for. But Nintendo, you know, made this technology and it never changed, right? Like to this day, you can't just self-publish on a console without going through the console maker. Like that was a new idea in 1985.
Yeah.
At the same time, Super Mario Brothers came out, which to me defined what a home video game was from then on, right? Like these are no longer copycats of arcade games. These are no longer score-chasing games. A home video game is something that is uniquely a home game, something that you finish, right? Something that the goal is to get to the end, not to
pump quarters into.
Right. This
hang
isn't
out
like,
and drink
you know,
and play.
this is not the first game to do that, of course, right? But this is the game that really set the tone for like what a home console game is.
What does it all mean, Frank?
What does it all mean? But, you know, like, again, Super Mario Brothers really defined it. If there wasn't a lockout chip, like, I don't know that Nintendo would have succeeded. We might have had Crash 2.0, right? We might not have game consoles at all anymore. We might just be playing on computers forever, right?
Yeah.
Someone else might have had that idea. I don't know if they would have succeeded. But here's the thing, someone else did have that idea.
What?
Remember this historical photo from earlier?
Yes, I do.
So Atari's meeting with Nintendo, and Atari goes to Nintendo. We don't know exactly who it was at Atari, but someone at Atari asked Nintendo, hey, there's all these games coming out for our system that we have nothing to do with, and it's giving us a headache. Can you guys do something about that? And Nintendo's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And they explain it, and then Nintendo's like, oh, you know, we never thought of that. Let me be clear, there's no lockout system in the Famicom. Like, they didn't think of that at all. And, but Nintendo's like, oh, I see what you're saying. That sounds bad. We don't have a solution in mind. And Atari's like, oh, okay. But Atari had that idea, and you know, this is Yamauchi, you know, speaking under deposition. After hearing what Atari said, we came to the conclusion that we're not going to sell games in the U.S. unless we can develop a security system.
That's fascinating.
So this is extra fascinating if you know your Atari history. So Atari ends up becoming essentially a licensee for the Nintendo. They make games for the NES, officially, until they don't. So Atari decides, we're not into Nintendo's limitations. Nintendo's only letting us make 5 games a year. We want to make 1 million games a year. We want to flood the market with games
Yeah,
ourselves.
what a great idea. Floods are such a good idea, and that's why we call them floods.
I'm oversimplifying, but you know, Atari really did want, you know, to control their destiny, right? And they defeated the lockout chip, and Nintendo sued them for it. And you know, this is its own panel, honestly, this thing, but it's lasted for like 5 years. They ultimately settled. We don't know the terms of the settlement, but this court case really was the final nail in the coffin of video game consoles being open systems that anyone could make games for. And it's generally accepted that Atari games didn't really come out ahead here. And so, in a way, I think Atari created its own monster, and that monster probably saved video games.
That's an incredible conclusion / thesis.
Thank
but
you.
I think I have to agree with you. Like Atari, they had all the tools, they had all the access, they had all the skills and the hardware and the software and the systems, but they did open the gates that caused the flood that destroyed the video game market in America.
Not on purpose, they just didn't think of it. They didn't think of it until it was too late.
And that's absolutely fair. Video games were so new as an industry at this time period. It's like, you couldn't have anticipated that this would have happened. And like all of the knockoffs and all of the rip-offs and all of the just like varieties of games causing like consumer confidence to drop is something that you couldn't have guessed, but it is also interesting because like all of this is still impacting the way that games are made today.
Absolutely. Yeah.
In every way, and it's just like incredible to think about what had happened if it hadn't have crashed.
We have 8 minutes and 55 seconds for questions. If anyone wants to line up to this middle part. In the meantime, I'm going to give a little pitch. The Video Game History Foundation is a charity. And if you like what we're doing, if you like this presentation, please support us. Or go research stuff for free in our digital library. You are in our video announcing the digital library. Thank you again for that.
You're welcome.
And go follow us on Blue Sky. We're not on that other thing anymore. Thank you so much, by the way. Yeah, let's...
Oh, I guess they cut the questions out. Okay, well, there's this really great list of other panels happening at PAX. And if you go to the PAX Twitch page, you can totally watch all of those panels that are happening live right now. And there's another one that Frank is doing on Monday, I believe. That was a really good panel. I mean, honestly, like, there was information in there that I didn't even know, which was like all of that history stuff with Atari. Like, that was really, really cool. But what did y'all think? Hello. Hi, Nick. Hello, Chris. Hi, Telepathetic. Thank you so much for all the subs, by the way. Singer Lisa. I've been to PAX East. In fact, I go to PAX East probably like, it's been like every year for the last 3 years now, but I've never been to PAX West. And I think next year I'm probably going to try and go to PAX West. But yeah, that was really cool. The Video Game History Foundation is definitely something to support. Make sure to check out their website as well, because there's a lot of really awesome free resources on there. It was good, right, Chris? Yeah. Frank really is incredible and does, obviously, because, he started the Video Game History Foundation, is like excellent at doing research and really digs in and knows everything. Thank you, Reaper, for the 25 bits. Yeah, exactly, Kev. They really know what they're doing in terms of archiving and making those things available to people and wanting to preserve things, the way that they should be preserved and giving people access and stuff like that. So they're awesome. Frank is awesome. Every time I go to Long Island Retro, I go and talk to Frank because he's really cool. Maybe we should do like a fundraiser for the Video Game History Foundation one day. I think that would be pretty cool. But yeah, thanks for watching that panel with me. PAX West reached out to me and was like, hey, since you can't be at the show, do you want to co-stream a panel? And I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Hi, Jareth. Hello. So yeah, it was, that was really, really cool. And of course, we could watch more or you can definitely watch more on your own. I pinned the link to the top of chat so you can see the schedule. What first game you played before all this? What do you mean? What do you mean? What first game? Like, do you mean what was my first game that I ever played? What do you mean? Universe Grand. So yeah, you can check that link that's pinned to top of chat and see what else they're streaming over the weekend. They've got tons of content. The next panel that was coming up after this is a Magic the Gathering one. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. And yeah, Frank did that panel at Long Island Retro with Ian Ferguson from the completely the CU podcast, the completely something podcast, CU podcast. Pat, don't get mad at me. But my childhood games before Twitch and Ambassador. Completely unnecessary podcast. Thank you. I don't know why it just popped in my brain. Probably Super Nintendo games, Universe Grand. Yeah, Super Nintendo games. But yeah, so Ian is really awesome, very knowledgeable. I wish I got a chance to see that at Long Island Retro. I have to reach out to them and see if they recorded that panel and see if I can get, like, if I could watch it, because I'm sure Ian had a lot of really cool stuff to say. But it was awesome getting to see Frank team up with, let me see what her name was. She was awesome. She had a lot of good stuff to say. And she was funny. She kept it really light. Jenna Stoeber. So yeah, she was cool. She was really cool. Probably go check out her channel. But yeah. So that was really fun. I'm glad we got to watch that together. Just looking at her Twitch channel. Cool. She streams on Twitch. That's pretty awesome. So yeah, thanks for watching that with me. I'm gonna be at Dragon Con this weekend, which is why I couldn't go to PAX West, because I'm gonna be at Dragon Con. I've got 2 panels there, and yeah, should be a fun time. But it was really cool to also see like all those photographs, all that stuff with like the displays at like FAO Schwartz, seeing the Rob, seeing the wooden prototypes. That was really cool, of the NES and the AVS system, and you know what they did at CES, Trogdor Con. What advice would you have for someone who wants to do a panel? Pick a topic that you could like talk about for multiple hours without stopping, because that will give you enough content to kind of hold your ability to speak to an audience. And you know, if you're not doing it, if you're gonna do it with other people, like definitely practice and like find people that you mesh with, because a lot of panel talking is like knowing when to insert yourself in the conversation, not speak over people too much, and make sure that you keep the topics going. Make sure that you keep the pace going, because you have a finite amount of time. So yeah, that is always good to do when you're considering working on a panel and stuff like that. Hi, Brother Bill. We just saw this really awesome panel with Frank Cifaldi and Jenna Stoeber, where they talked about the history, the beginnings of the NES and Atari's basically involvement with getting the NES started, and it's really cool. I forgot to put it in Discord. I literally forgot to put it in Discord. I'm so sorry about that. I always do, but I was like kind of rushing. But we watched this really, really cool panel with Frank Cifaldi, and he was showing like all this great information. I'll link you to the panel because it was really good. I definitely want to watch it again for sure, because there was so much good information there. So yeah, I highly recommend it. Let me see if I could get the link for you. But it was really, really good. I don't automate it. I don't know. I don't know how to do it, but I'm pretty sure it's probably easy. But yeah, maybe I should look into that. Okay, Chris, yeah, thanks for watching with me. Yeah, it was great to have you here in chat. Have a good day. Thank you so much. But yeah, there's a lot of really, really awesome panels going on. Okay, I found it. I'm gonna share it with you, Brother Bill, because I think you'll really enjoy it, actually. I really think you'll enjoy watching this panel because of all the information that they shared about like Atari specifically. Like, it was really, really, really cool. So I'm gonna send you a message. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, right here. Okay, cool. Should be at the 3 hour, like the 4 hour mark. Yeah. No, thank you for doing that. Hi, Monware. Hello. How you doing? So yeah, I didn't get to do Star Trek yesterday because I've been recording voice lines for a project that I'm a part of. So I've been having to focus on that a little bit, and there's just like so much going on right now. And with Dragon Con and stuff, like it's been a lot, but yeah. Yeah, it was cool to kind of just sit back and watch that. Oh, also, I have a new YouTube video out if anybody wants to check this out as well. Oops. I did a little interview with Bob from Wolf Den, who was super cool. He was really, really cool. Really nice to talk to. Ash is the new Millhouse. I wish. It's all pathetic. Could you imagine? Oh my gosh. That would have been so cool. My name is Millhouse. Yeah. Kim! Thank you for the Prime sub, Kim. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. How you doing? Oh, there's Bobby too, by the way. Bobby, did you enjoy the panel with Frank? Look at her. She's like, meow, meow. I like the panel. Meow, meow. Yeah. Hi, Kim. How's your day? Churu panel when? Oh my gosh. Could you imagine? Bobby, she's like, she would freak out if we did a Churu panel. She would freak out. Look at her. It's dark in my room. I guess I was the light outside was lighting my room, so I didn't turn on all my lights. But the sun is going down. Should come out to California for CatCon? There's a CatCon? Do you get to pet cats? Going through it low key? Oh my gosh. One day at a time, Kim. One day at a time. That's all we can do, right? That's all we could do. One day at a time. I would love to do something like that panel, but for the Amiga, with Amiga Bill, at like MagFest or something. I would love. Yeah. Please send me the link. I'd love to check it out. I would love to check it out. That would be super cool. So yeah, check the pinned link for the schedule for PAX West. There's so many cool panels going on. And like I said, if you liked that one with Frank Cifaldi, he's doing another one on Monday, Labor Day. So if you have the day off, you got nothing to do, you want to watch some panels at PAX West, definitely check out Frank's other panel, which, let me see what it is actually, because I'm sure it's going to be awesome. Frank is like so cool. Video Game History Foundation at PAX. And that's going to be for East Coasters, 7:30, for West Coasters, 3:30. Have an Amiga exhibit. I'm pretty sure we could figure that out, Brother Bill, to be honest with you. Actually, MagFest. Let me look it up. Oh, hotel information. Hotel and launch information coming September 9th. Let me write that down. MagFest info. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's something to easily to be able to figure out. Since you're close and you're driving. Yeah, I think it would be super cool. It was on August 2nd through 3rd. Oh, CatCon. Yes. Oh my gosh. How to contribute. Bring arcade games, volunteer, staff board, donate, guestimonials, superstar donors, Hall of Beans, partners and sponsors. I'm sure if you do like an apply, there's a way to figure out how to bring that kind of stuff. Ooh, panel applications are open for MagFest. Yeah. Content submission form. Okay. I'm gonna do this panel submission. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Do you want to be on the panel, Brother Bill? I don't want to remind him too far away from MagFest. That makes sense. The retro exhibit? Okay. Yeah, we could totally talk about it. Okay, I'm going to send this reminder to myself. To-do list. My to-do list. Yeah, MagFest is pretty open to all kinds of panel discussions. T! Hi, T. Are you going to do a panel at MagFest this year, you think? I definitely am going to go. I love MagFest so much. It's one of my favorite things of the year. One of my favorite shows of the year. When is MagFest? It's usually in January. Let me see. I'll tell you the date. The date for MagFest is January 8th through the 11th at National Harbor in Maryland. Yeah, we can have one on display in the room. Yeah. Absolutely. Yup. I got a few other events coming up, maybe next year. Totally understand. There's so many panels that happen every year. It's hard to do them all, although we want to do them all. You know, it's always fun to go to panels. You'll try to come? Awesome. All right, y'all. I am going to, there's so many, right? And they're moving PAX PAX East back to March. So yeah, it's pretty close. Hi, Raheem. Hello. All right, I'm going to call it here so that way I could go finish recording all of my voice lines and then get ready for Dragon Con and my panel tomorrow. So we're going to find a nice person to raid. Thank you, Reaper. Thank you for watching the panel with me. Thank you, Monware. Thank you, T, Star-Lord, Brother Bill. Thank you, everyone. Everything's coming up. Ash, Duddy, Andy J. Thank you for watching the panel. Thank you. Yeah, I think the 3-day price for MagFest is reasonable too. Yeah, for 8-bit, thank you. Thank you so much for hanging out. Oh, I never get to raid Dino. Let's see if Dino is gonna be live for a little while. And Dino is playing Demon Summoner. Let's go raid Dino. Dino, please. It's one of my favorite people to watch. One of my favorite. Oh, wow, there's a lot of people doing PAX West stuff. That's pretty cool. Okay. Thank you, Star-Lord. Yeah, oh, of course. My pleasure. I'm always happy to help people if they want to learn how to do things like that, because it can be difficult to understand, especially if you've never done it before. All right, let's go. Raid Dino. Dino's playing a game called Demon Summoner on PS2. Dino is funny and amazing, and I love his channel. And I'll see you all over there. All right, y'all. Don't forget to tell your friends Ash said hi. Bye. Oh my gosh, foamed. Ha ha ha.